The idea of quadratic equations to powers that are other than squared. So remember, the quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c, right? And this whole chapter is we're going to set that equal to what?
Zero.
To 0. Okay? Now, when you first look at this, it might not seem that you can solve this because you say, well, I've got an x to the 4th. But what if you do this? I can factor this. That's a perfect square, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So it's going to be an x squared times an x squared. And I know I'm going to, since that's negative, I'm going to add 1 and I'm going to subtract 1. Now, what two numbers, when I multiply them, give me 20? But when I add them, give me
plus 5 minus 4.
Plus 5 and minus 4 equals 0. So then it's the same thing we've been doing, right? Either x squared plus 5 equals 0, or x squared minus 4 equals 0. So this is going to give me x squared equals negative, oops, it's negative 5. Or x squared equals 4. This is going to be what? X equals plus or minus 2.
Yeah.
And this is going to be what?
X equals plus or minus the square root
plus
of 5.
Or minus the square root of negative 5. Alright, so those are my two possible answers.
Is
now let's see.
The square root of negative 5 an imaginary number?
It is. But that doesn't mean it doesn't solve the equation. All right.
That's right.
Now, if you look at this, you guys. If I put this in here, you can see that it doesn't matter if I use plus or minus square root of negative 5, right? Because if I do plus, it doesn't change anything. But if I do minus the square root of negative 5, I'm going to do it to the 4th root, which is going to get rid of the negative here, and to the square root, which is going to get rid of the negative here. So I'll leave it up to you to plug both of those in to show that it works. All right, well, what about an equation for one like this? X to the 1/2 minus x to the 1/4 equals 6. Well, again, it doesn't look like we can solve this. I could rewrite this like this, right, to get everything to one side. Minus 6 equals 0, right? Okay, so now we're going to use this idea of u substitution, and we're going to let u equal x to the 1/4 power, right? See that?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
Now, if I do that, let's forget about the first term. The second term is obviously going to be minus u minus 6, right?
Yeah.
Right? U equals x to the 1/4. Well, what is that going to be? Well, think about that for a second. If I square x to the 1/4, it's doing this, right?
1/2.
And what do when I have that? I multiply 2 times 1/4, which is x to the 2/4, or x to the 1/2. So in other words, u squared equals x to the 1/2. So then I can write that here.
Okay.
You see that?
Yeah.
And now, I hope that you see that this is fairly easy to factor. Plus something and u minus something. What is it going to be?
Plus 2 minus 3.
Plus 2 and minus 3 equals 0. Got to carry down that. So that means u plus 2 equals 0, or u minus 3 equals 0. So u equals 2, or excuse me, minus 2, or u equals 3.
Hold it right there.
So then, now I have to go back in and say, well, what was u? So I'd say x to the 1/4 equals -2, right? Or